And what you said earlier about Ron Bellamy, I think we would tend to take for granted how easy it is to recruit. Just go talk to people. You know, football, you're a football coach, you were a football player not that long ago. Hey, it's easy.
Hmm.
Go talk to these guys and sell the university and sell the football program. But it's almost like it's like sales. It's like you take somebody who's not used to selling and closing a deal, but they're a good communicator. They can talk. They build relationships. You know, I'll take myself. Would I be out selling something? Could I establish conversation and do all those other things? Yeah. But then it comes to closing the deal, and only true salesmen, salespeople know how to close the deal, much like recruiting. Hey, getting that relationship, all that is has to be done and it's part of it, but then closing the deal, that's a whole other level.
Yeah, and think remember this too. Michigan lost their director of player personnel only what a week ago. Courtney Morgan moved for the same role to Washington, and I have to imagine he was kind of the deal closer for a lot of these recruits too, right? When that's the guy that knows knows everything that they're trying to do. But I definitely think that that would have been one of my concerns for these young coaches. Yes, they're going to be, much easier to talk to than a Don Brown, right? They're going to relate to these guys a lot more than even Jim Harbaugh, right? These young coaches get it. Like you said, they were in their shoes not that long ago, all those things. But there's something to say about actually getting on the trail and saying, hey, here's the deal. Here's what we can offer you, blah, blah, blah. Come to Michigan. Let's make it happen, right? And so not a ton of them had proved that, but now you've got guys like Ron Bellamy who have done really really well. Steve Klingscale, the new safety coach, has done really well as well on the recruiting trail. Sharon Moore is going to be up for my guess, probably one of the recruiters of the year on Michigan's offensive line, and that's remember this is his first time as an O line coach. He was the tight ends coach last year, so all these guys that Jim Harbaugh brought in, they're all kind of panning out, even though they're in new roles or in a new part of the team or part of the program. So it's really, I think, encouraging for Michigan fans. Michigan fans, listen, Michigan fans love to hype up what's to come, the future, right? For how many years now? For a decade, before beating Ohio State, it was next year's the year. Well, right now they're able to say this year still can be the year. It already is for a Big Ten championship and beating Ohio State. But also, Michigan's roster is looking very good for the next 3 or 4 years as well.
And poor Don Brown, maybe he can find a place in
I
Michigan
feel
fans'
bad.
hearts someday, where maybe it's a Bill Buckner kind of story. If you know of Bill Buckner, who let the grounder go through his legs in the '86 World Series, and years later, Red Sox fans, after they get their championship, then
Right.
they can then forgive Bill Buckner. But poor Don Brown probably gets heaped on more than any recent assistant in college football.
It's tough. I Because the thing is, I think he's a great human being, and everyone loved him that played for him. It was just he was stuck in a 1995 scheme that he didn't want to deter from. So it was just kind of unfortunate circumstances. It's no like bad blood or anything like that. It's just some frustration coming from Michigan fans saying, "Hey, I can see that it's not working. Why can't you?" type of thing. But we wish him the best. He's at Massachusetts now, right? And so that is a heck of a job to try and turn around that program. And interestingly enough, I believe they're on Michigan's schedule next year. So that should be very interesting for him to come back to Ann Arbor.
Probably not a lot of Chris Olaves on the schedule or up there to have to cover, though.
That is true. That is true. He doesn't have to deal with you know as many crossing routes as he needed to against Ohio State.
Yes. And if he does, those guys are about 2 or 3 steps, not as
Right.
far across the field as that he's used to, accustomed to trying to scheme against.